Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day, thanks to viewers, supporters, and now sponsors just like you. Thank you so much. This rundown is going out to one of our most recent sponsors, Amilcar Cabral. Thank you for your support. We got you this rundown. The sci-fi shooter Destiny 2 is facing some big problems. The game has received a huge wave of online criticism over the last few weeks, with many players saying that the progression system is broken. It all started when players discovered that they weren't really getting as much XP as they thought, leading to accusations that developer Bungie was being deliberately misleading. The backlash has gotten so bad that Bungie was forced to make changes to the progression system earlier this week, and they've now issued a new statement saying that more changes are coming. In a blog post published last night, the game's design director Luke Smith and game director Christopher Barrett say that they're currently working on new updates to make further improvements, and they admit that they should have been more open about the progression system in the first place. They say that they've been listening to the feedback stemming from the controversy and promise to be more open going forward. They haven't revealed what specific changes are coming, but expect more details soon. It's also unclear if new changes will be made to the progression system in time for the release of the first DLC expansion, Curse of Osiris, which lands next week. If you're planning to stick with Destiny 2, Bungie has a cool new feature for the game. They've teamed up with Amazon to make the game compatible with Amazon's voice-activated assistant, Alexa. Users can ask Alexa to give them relevant information about the game while they're playing, and you can also ask Alexa to do things that will affect what happens in the game, like equip different weapon loadouts or call your friends for backup.
Alexa, ask us to call for backup.
I've sent out a call for backup. Hopefully we'll get some help soon.
Best of all, you won't be interacting with the familiar Alexa voice. It will instead use the voice of Destiny's robotic ghost, portrayed by Nolan North.
It sounds like there's a flashpoint on Titan.
The Alexa update is available now for all three versions of Destiny 2, the PC, Xbox One, or PS4, and is compatible with any Alexa speaker. If you really want to get into it, Amazon is also releasing a special Destiny-themed version of Alexa, which hits stores on December 19th. Square Enix really doesn't understand the definition of the word final because we haven't seen the last of Final Fantasy 15. With the game's new single-player expansion, Episode Ignis, landing in 2 weeks, Square Enix has announced that they're planning to create even more big single-player expansions for the game. Final Fantasy 15 game director Hajime Tabata says that they're currently working on no less than 3 new expansions, all of which they're planning to release throughout 2018. Like the first 3 single-player expansions, which focused on 3 different members of your party, the 3 new ones will focus on other supporting characters from the main game, including one based around the main villain, Arden. All of this is being done on top of new content coming for the game's multiplayer expansion, Comrades, which recently debuted. It's not too much of a surprise that the publisher wants to keep making new stuff for Final Fantasy 15. Earlier this year at E3, they announced a new initiative called Final Fantasy 15 Universe, which is basically their way of turning Final Fantasy 15 into its own subgenre. This means you can expect new DLC, tie-in films, and spin-off games like the VR fishing experience Monster of the Deep for years to come.
Hey, you got a bite.
Xbox gamers have nothing to fear because Microsoft isn't giving up on gaming anytime soon. With the Xbox One losing ground to the PS4 and with few big exclusives announced for the system, some gamers have been worried about what the future holds for Microsoft in the gaming space. Don't worry, because the company isn't crying game over just yet. During their latest shareholders meeting, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella promises that not only are they going to continue in the gaming market, they're going to double down. Nadella says that they plan to expand the number of Xbox players over the next few years and further integrate the Xbox Live platform across other Microsoft devices like Windows 10 PCs. They've made it possible to play most Xbox One games on the PC, and Nadella says that going forward, they plan to broaden their approach even more when it comes to game distribution and the way games are played. He's likely referring to more integration between the Xbox One and PCs, as well as new devices like Windows mixed reality headsets. Xbox head Phil Spencer recently announced a new game streaming service which would allow you to play Xbox games without an Xbox, although that's still a few years away. All of this means that Microsoft isn't giving up on gaming anytime soon.
Understood, Commander.
Netflix isn't going to stop getting into the minds of some of the world's most notorious serial killers. The streaming giant has renewed their new crime thriller series Mindhunter for a second season. They haven't said when it will arrive, but it will presumably debut in late 2018, continuing off the cliffhanger finale of the first season. Mindhunter tells the true story of how the FBI set up their behavioral sciences division in the 1970s to profile and get into the minds of serial killers, which makes it easier to catch them.
How do we get ahead of crazy if we don't know how crazy thinks?
The show is produced by David Fincher, who's made several big serial killer movies like Seven and Zodiac, and it definitely shares his realistic yet moody visual style.
I watch all the cop shows on TV.
The renewal of Mindhunter comes amidst big trouble for another Fincher-produced Netflix series, House of Cards. That show recently fired its lead, Kevin Spacey, who, in case you've been living under a rock, has had troubling sexual assault allegations surface against him in recent weeks. Production of the planned 6th and final season of that show has been on hiatus while the producers figure out how to proceed without him, and there are unconfirmed rumors that they might scrap everything and cancel the show altogether. We'll let you know when more details come in.
So help me God.
And it didn't take long for Kevin Spacey to be dropped and replaced from another new project. Filmmaker Ridley Scott has spoken out for the first time on his decision to remove Kevin Spacey from his latest film, All the Money in the World. Scott decided to replace Spacey with veteran actor Christopher Plummer, and although Spacey was only ever a supporting character in a small number of scenes, this was an unprecedented move given that it was being done mere weeks before the film's release. Speaking with Entertainment Weekly, Ridley Scott says that he didn't really have a choice. The allegations against Kevin Spacey were so serious that Scott just couldn't tolerate having him in the film, so he took it upon himself to replace him at the last minute. Scott adds that he didn't want Spacey's actions to affect the good work of all the other people in the film. Finally, Ridley Scott says that he never actually informed Kevin Spacey of his decision to take him out of the film. He just went ahead and did it. All the Money in the World will hit theaters December 22nd on schedule, just in time for Oscar season.
Tell him I'm coming.
Nintendo's boxing game ARMS is putting the pedal to the metal with a surprising new character. A new playable character has been added to the roster in the game's new 4.1 update, which is available now to all players. The new fighter is called Springtron and is a metallic doppelganger of the existing fighter Springman, although with a slightly different set of stats and abilities. Springtron actually appeared in the main game as a secret boss, but this will be the first time players can take control of him themselves. This makes Springtron the 4th new playable character to join the game since launch, and this follows another new fighter, Misongo, who was just released 2 weeks ago. Best of all, every bit of new DLC for ARMS is free for all players. Expect more new content in the coming weeks and months. That's our rundown for today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new episode for you. But in the meantime, I think we put up about 1 million new pieces of content for you to check out, so please do that. And if you dig it, hit that subscribe button, that little bell, and if you're so inclined, that sponsorship button too.